Every week, we're pulling back the curtain and cracking open a cold one with the legends, the innovators, and the grunts on the floor who are actually building, testing, and selling the parts that make the world go round. Hi, I'm Amanda. I'm one of your hosts. I'm an automotive marketing expert with more than a decade of experience helping dealerships drive growth in the ever-evolving digital landscape. Gideon Williams is here from Revolution Parts. He's another one of your hosts. He is an aftermarket parts e-commerce expert with more than 12 years of industry experience. Gideon, you want to share a little bit more about yourself?
Yeah. No, first off, Amanda, thanks for having myself and Johannes. It's a pleasure to be here. I think I didn't intend to be in the parts business or the parts space or even an innovator at any level. But I think early in my career, roughly 12 years ago when I got in it, it grabs you. I don't know that I grabbed it. It kind of grabs you. And the more that you start to look at transportation and the more that, you start to look at what kind of impact you can make in the world, it feels pretty good to impact vehicles, transportation, which we all use, right? And for me, I think when I look at my career and what I want to do professionally is I want to have as big of an impact as possible, I think, like anyone. And, so as we look at the parts industry and you start to go, deeper and deeper and deeper from the automaker, the creator to, the aftermarket, to where data intersects with technology, right? Now we're looking at more reasoning based search models, right? With Google and AI and things that we didn't even think about probably 20 years ago. We look at the digital catalog. We look at how buyers and sellers are interacting. To me, it's very exciting. And I, quite frankly, couldn't imagine myself or career in any other space, just because the impact is global. It's magnificent. It's, it's the average age of vehicle. It's people keeping moving. They got jobs. They got work. They got families. And so as we think ahead and we look at true innovation, if I could have my name somewhere on, innovative partners like, PDM and others that are paving the way for the future, I think that's incredibly exciting.
And the aftermarket is a great place to have your name because I don't know about you guys, but I personally feel like the aftermarket is where this industry is going. As cars are getting older and people are maintaining them longer, and I myself, a member of the YouTube generation, are getting involved, aftermarket parts are the future of the automotive industry, and I am very excited to be a part of Revolution Parts and where this industry is headed.
I'd love to kind of get Johannes your take on kind of what you see. I mean, you've got 20 plus years in this game. Would love to kind of peel back an onion layer and get a little bit of insights from you on. You got obviously global perspective, right? Just kind of where you came up, your background, and obviously now positioning PDM as hopefully a global entity when it comes to data management, how we're interacting. I'd love to kind of get your take and understanding on how you see it progression, how your career's gone, how you see PDM pushing into the space.
Well, Gideon, that is a great segue. Let me introduce Johannes real quick, and then I'll let him answer that question. He's from PDM.
Should have done
if
that
you can't
first,
tell by his
Amanda.
background and his shirt, Johannes is coming to us from PDM, and he's been in the automotive industry for 20 years. So you've got more experience than either Gideon or myself in this industry. He started his first company back in 2005, selling parts for American cars in Europe. So you're very familiar with the bottleneck that this industry experiences. He's always experienced this in the aftermarket parts industry when dealing with vendors, and this led to his latest brainchild, PDM. He works with manufacturers to remove friction between them and their retailer and warehouse distributor customers, effectively driving connections in the automotive parts industry. So given that introduction, Johannes, why don't you share with us a little bit more about yourself and your take on the industry right now?
Yeah, awesome. No, thanks for the introduction. Thanks for having me. It's interesting, like hearing you, Gideon, and your kind of reasoning for being in the industry and the passion that you have developed for the industry. And that's the same, I would say the same on my side, where I could not imagine moving forward to be in any other industry. And it's really, it's exciting to see the technology that evolves in this industry, but it's also very very people driven. The joke is always no one leaves the industry, just the logo on the shirt changes when they're moving to one company to another, but you're always running into the same people, and there's so much passion, especially in the aftermarket. And then when you look into the performance aftermarket, all the accessories and like people tricking out their cars and those kind of things, that really it's so much fun being in an industry where it's not just a kind of commodity that you're dealing with, but actually with certainly many times where it's someone's life, whether it's keeping an ambulance on the road, but then also you got the other side where it's really someone's passion to deal with their car and cars being passed down from parents and everything like that. So I, for myself, am very grateful for being in the industry, and again, it's great to be around passionate people, and the ability to work with you guys over at RevolutionParts is also a big contributor to where I think this industry is going. As we already said, like the technology is really moving fast, and I was kind of laughing inside briefly, Gideon, when you said like about search and AI, and we didn't think about it 20 years ago. We didn't think about it 2 years ago. Like it's like stuff is moving so fast, and I mean even how it's right now, it wasn't 6 months ago. So it's amazing and exciting to even try to imagine what 6 months or 12 months from now will look like with the acceleration that we see in technology, and frankly the massive impact it can have on an industry that's over $1 trillion worldwide when it comes to the parts aftermarket. And so very excited to be in the industry, very excited to be here with you guys today. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And I agree. I think, when you associate yourself with any industry, you really, if you're not going to pave the way, why do it at all? That's just how I feel. If you're not going to go big, then just don't do it at all, and I think as we look ahead and we look at the acceleration of AI and all these technologies, obviously the one thing that never changes is catalog, right? And I think where we've seen a big evolution, and it's happened over a period of time, but I think more now than ever, clarity on data, how are you distributing data? What's the presence? That's, in my opinion, kind of the new sales org inside a successful manufacturer. If you haven't thought about that can ultimately drive, sales and growth into a different direction. And I think when you look at the future and you look at small, mid-sized companies right now, there's no better time than to grab market share. I really believe that big time. There's a lot of PE capital going into our industry, and they have a lot of different ideas, right? They may not have that 30-year background and could tell you every nick and cranny on why something changed or why something evolved. And so we're seeing a lot of the evolution. We're seeing a lot of different kind of components that are impacting the industry. But that's kind of one thing that I'd love to kind of hear, is from your end with PDM. I mean, I would position PDM as a cataloging fintech type of organization, very tech driven, very cause and effect driven, right? Trying to look at the future, trying to be an accelerant. But where do you see the data moving? Where do you see that kind of evolution when it comes to, if you're not nailing down your data today, you're going to be, not here tomorrow potentially?
Yeah, I mean, that's I don't know how much time we have, but that's a big topic. I mean, it's obviously our business. Like PDM was started really with the catalog data being the first mountain that we wanted to climb and really help the industry become more efficient. And so it really started out of a necessity. So at my previous company, thanks for the intro, Amanda, as we already heard, was that like one bottleneck in growing that business was always about efficiently communicating with suppliers, with manufacturers, vendors, however you want to call them. And a big part in that connection or in that relationship is the catalog data, because it's like if again, in my previous life, I was a retailer, so I was trying to sell someone's products, and I go on their website, I meet them at SEMA or through online research, and then the next question is, okay, now we want to sell your products, but we got to get this into our system, we got to get it up on our website. And this is then where typically things fell apart very quickly, because data didn't really exist at that point. I mean, frankly, with my business, we were in a niche space. It was all about restoration products, performance products. So it wasn't as, I would say, established when it comes at least to the fitment cataloging data, where if you have larger repair parts companies, they have been better about this for a little longer. But even then, loading brands from large established companies was still a nightmare. Like, there was the data, the quality of the data was never at a point where it was just load it, use it, and start selling products. You still had to massage it so much to a point where sometimes it was even easier to just start from scratch, because you were trying to clean up so much data that even if it was in the industry standards, it was just fields were randomly filled out with content where, again, data quality as a just didn't exist, period. And that was the idea behind PDM, with a SaaS solution that made the catalog content more transparently, or made it transparent to a supplier as to what they were actually sending out to their retailers. I was sometimes or oftentimes joking or even, I guess, questioning, like, do you guys even know how you are representing your brand to a retailer? I mean, the quote unquote garbage that you're sending out there, like, this is how you're representing your brand. Just imagine you having a paper catalog, and it's like very bad resolution, stuff isn't laid out well, it's missing part numbers, some pages are blank. Like, you can come up with all kinds of analogies here, but this is essentially how a brand is representing itself to the market if the product data is bad. And again, this is where the drive originally came from, to say we gotta solve this, the problem of a brand not even being able to provide high quality content. Some were willing to, but they didn't have the tools and the capabilities. And so this was the starting point. We have since evolved drastically, because what we have learned is, even if you have great data, that still needs to go places. So this is why, again, talking to you guys, partnering with you is very important, because a great catalog sitting in PDM, frankly, doesn't generate revenue. Like, there is no value to it. It's just like it's an asset sitting idle in our database. It needs to go in front of the consumer. It needs to go in front of the mechanic. It needs to go places where someone can actually use that data to make a purchase decision. So partnering with someone like RevolutionParts is therefore like a strategic necessity for us, and very valuable to our customers. And we also see that this makes the activity of cataloging branch out into other departments, because suddenly the activity of cataloging does not just stay an operational activity that is frankly sometimes even an afterthought in companies, but it becomes at the very forefront, because if suddenly business development, sales, marketing can go out and use that asset as a strategic advantage over their competitors who may not be taking it as serious, this is then when the value really shines and allows companies to grow, win new customers, and really get those relationships that work efficiently and successful. And so I think the biggest part is really to understand that cataloging cannot be viewed as an isolated activity. It needs to be very collaborative with other departments within the companies.
Yeah, well, and I think when you start to look at that piece, that falls in line with where technology is going as a whole, right? It was kind of the old saying is, how did you figure out what a stock did back in 1989? Well, you just opened the paper, right? Mm-hmm. So information was being hoarded until a certain time. And a great market operates in free-flowing data and information. And I think it falls in line as we look at our industry. The more activity and the more flowing of information that you can get out to channels and sources and activity, it all ties back into being more of an active group, right? With it kind of being in the forefront. And I agree. I see the same thing across the board. And we are seeing a lot of shift as we see younger folks in our industry kind of move into the executive levels, and they're clicking a little bit differently. They're thinking a little bit differently. It's more activity based. It's more quality based, right? It's how many pieces can I touch, or how many people can I touch over a period of time, which then kind of spits out, where the volume, where my brand is growing. So I totally agree. I think we have to reevaluate how that's being viewed, and we'll start to see an improved outcome.
Well, and I always look at everything from a marketing perspective, because if you both said it, the relationship, the quality, if you don't have the quality, if you're selling a part that the manufacturer doesn't actually have, if the warehouse doesn't have any in stock, and now your shipping times have been delayed by weeks or months, now you have an irritated customer, and they always say that you only get one shot at a first impression. A lot of times that first impression is the only impression. And so the catalog and the data, it has to be accurate, because if it's not, you're not going to get a second chance.
Yeah. And this is also where, again, the connection to other departments is so important, because we've more often than not, we see that a salesperson would go out to a customer and say, hey, here's our new price sheet, and these are all the products we're selling. And then weeks later, the customer comes back and say, hey, we loaded your product data, and they don't match up. You have more part numbers in your product data than you have in your price sheet, or the other way around. How is that even possible that you're trying to sell us something but then not give us the details to do so? So it's almost already that first impression is not just the end consumer trying to find the product. It's also that B2B relationship between a retailer and the manufacturer. But then also, again, to confirm what you said, it's the consumer's impression as well that they get from viewing a product. And this is also where having consistency in the market is important as well. Someone may look on a RevolutionParts website at a product. They may then go to Amazon to look at a product. They may then go to some other website to look at the same product. If all three websites tell a different story about the product, have different, maybe even contradicting specifications, the consumer loses trust immediately and is not willing to purchase the product, and rather goes to a competitor. So this goes all back to the data in the first place, but then also the effective syndication into the market and to the right places, and making sure that the data stays
Absolutely.
updated.
Now let's talk about, so you mentioned it already, but I kind of want to talk about having a single source of truth, because the data, if it's coming from a lot of different places, if you've got your fitment data in one place and your stock numbers in another place and your descriptions and your pictures and everything is being stored in different places, and maybe you have competing data, you as a company are never going to find success, because your customer's never going to have a good experience. How is PDM helping people overcome this problem and creating that single source of truth for not only the manufacturers, but also for the retailers?
So this is really probably not the answer may not be the expected one, but it's we are also not for everything the source of truth. It's really understanding where is the source of truth within your company. So when we come in, typically, again, cataloging is somewhat of a isolated standalone activity that a team does, that's stuffed in the basement somewhere. They're lucky if they have windows, kind of thing. So when we come in and go through an implementation with our customers, we always need to understand what is your single source of truth by data point. You may have your warehouse management system being the source of truth for your dimensions, because stuff sits on the shelves and you need that to be accurate. So no one should in PDM enter weights and dimensions. That should be automatically through an API be consumed into PDM. And the same goes with pricing. Pricing may not be originating in PDM. It originates in the ERP. So we should be consuming that information from the ERP. customer data lives in the CRM. PDM is very active in connecting companies, but again, the customer data is not something that we house. We are very focused, to your examples, on the fitment data, on all the rich marketing, the features and benefits, anything you need to sell the product. And also there we see oftentimes when we come in that this is very disjointed. Some team works on the fitment data, another team works on the marketing data. Again, part numbers don't really match, so you have an inconsistent data set when that comes to market. So single source of truth is critically important. The important part is to understand that different systems are the source of truth for different data points, and there needs to be a holistic kind of architecture throughout a company to really make sure that everyone is aware as to where that data needs to be entered, and then the systems efficiently talking to one another.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that those things are critical. I think also as we look ahead, I know we've had a lot of changes and evolutions very quickly. And I'd love kind of both y'all's take, Amanda and Johannes, as we look ahead to 2026. I've got some ideas on what I think is in store, but I'll kind of give it to you, Amanda. What do you think is going to crack ahead in 2026?
Well, like I said before, I kind of take a marketing spin on everything. I think 2026 is going to be the year of AI. I'm personally looking at the way that AI is helping every aspect of my job. I think it's going to write product descriptions. I think you're going to upload a single picture of a product and we're going to get AI to create additional pictures based on that one picture. I think AI is going to help us to clarify and clean up data. I really think AI is going to make all of our jobs a lot easier, but I also think AI is going to add an extra layer of complexity to everyone's job. Those people who currently are not familiar and comfortable using AI, it's going to be very clear very quickly. So I would say 2026 is the year of personal growth and development for everyone in this industry, because if you're not prepared for AI, you're going to get replaced.
Yeah, it's definitely in the AI bucket as well. I think if you talk about a big trend next year, it's hard for that to not be somehow influenced by AI. I mean, I agree with everything you're saying, especially I more so see it as an opportunity. Again, like the job replacement is obviously a big topic, but I think it's even more so encouraging that if you embrace the technology, that you'll prosper and benefit from it. So that's really that's the great news about it. I mean, with very specific topics, I think shopping behavior will change drastically. Where I mean, already now I don't know the numbers, and can never trust a statistic you didn't fake yourself, or whatever the saying is. But a lot of shopping is already moving into ChatGPT and Gemini and other kind of AI chatbots. So optimizing your data again for that, but also this now becomes an even more so important aspect, that you know that wherever, as a brand, wherever your data lives, this is all input that AI is using to make purchase recommendations. So technically, you as a manufacturer, you don't even need a website anymore. You could just work with other people's websites and have that be the source for the AI chatbot to find your products. So strategically optimizing for the AI helping in the discovery of a product, and then making sure that purchase journey actually also can be brought all the way to the end, whether it's purchasing right within ChatGPT, or whether that is linked out to a website where that product is showing up. So I think that's one, and the other one is just on our own websites or a RevolutionParts website. How does AI change the search behavior? Obviously, automotive parts are very complex in like finding the right part. So AI can really take on a tremendous role in simplifying that journey to finding the right product within your own website. So I think those those two, and there are pretty many more, but those two that come to mind, like right out of the gate.
Yeah, my head always snaps too. Like back in the 80s, 90s, when you start to look at like search engines and then kind of computers were starting, it was Microsoft. And if you look at the percentages, like 95% were using Microsoft driven search. Then Safari started to overtake them, right? And so if you look at the aggregate numbers, and now all of those numbers have completely shifted to where Google is kind of your main search engine behind little bitty Safari and little bitty Microsoft Edge, right? But all of that happened over a period of time. And that's kind of, I agree. I think that's where we're at in this space of shopping behaviors, where it's moving. I think you're going to see, like Cloud.ai, ChatGPT. I know there's a lot of those out there, and we're intertwining them into our day-to-day, every day. But I think we're going to see the search engine world kind of get rattled around a little bit. And I think it's only going to be an accelerant, which also comes, parts focused buying, reasoning based models. I can now just ask a question and it spits something out and it gives me the source, gives me the timing. I think all those components are going to continue to
absolutely
accelerate.
are, and it's because it's the battle of the AIs right now. It's 10 years ago, everyone was talking about you have to upload your entire parts catalog to Facebook so that Facebook will advertise your parts. And if you don't have all of your parts catalogs in a Facebook catalog, then you're not actually selling on Facebook. And then it turned into the no-click search. I don't know if you guys remember that, like 5 years ago. Everybody was worried because you needed to update your website and you need to update your marketing, and all of your parts had to have absolutely perfect descriptions, because now all of a sudden Google is giving people the answer to questions without them ever clicking on your website. So you're never even getting that website traffic to your store. Now, not only are people skipping your store, but they're skipping Google altogether and going straight to the AI. And if they don't get the answer they want from one AI, they're going to another AI. So we as marketers and as people who run part stores, we're losing the data entirely. We're not getting your IP address because you're not visiting our website. We can't remarket to you. You're not even going to the search engine so that we can get history on how many people are searching for a specific product. So we have to rely on making sure that the data is pure, is clean, is accurate, and is easily and readily available, so that those AI tools will find that information so that we can just get in front of the buyer.
Yeah,
Totally agree.
It's kind of ironic because it's almost like it comes back to, well, you just need good data. Like if you have good product descriptions, if you have all the features and benefits. I mean, FAQs are becoming a big topic in optimizing for AI search. It's like there is no shortcut anymore. Like you can't put buzzwords on white on your website. I mean that is a long time ago.
I remember those days.
Like you really just need good data. I mean, it's kind of simple, but it's also like, all right, that has been the direction we've been going
Absolutely.
for such a long time.
All right, guys, I think that's it for this episode of the Parts Pros podcast presents Aftermarket After Dark, talking about data. Thank you to everyone for tuning in today. We appreciate you stopping by to hang out with us. We're going to post another episode next week, so visit our website, click the link below, again, partsprospodcast.com, and you can visit Aftermarket After Dark once you reach that website to subscribe and catch us on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, YouTube, or wherever it is you catch your latest episode of the podcast. We'll see you next time.